Good evening, folks. Good evening. It's Freddie Vasquez. I'm here with my co-host, Anderson of Inside Yonkers, to bring you a new podcast we call City Talk. Say hello, Anderson. Introduce yourself. Can you hear me? Your mic. Mike. Yeah, I gotta call him. His mic is not working, but we wanted to discuss a few things, actually. Some of the things we wanted to go over were the Sustainable Westchester deal and the whole debacle that was, and how now everyone was switched back over to Con Edison again. And the funny thing is that they got switched over initially to Sustainable Westchester without being told, and then they switched them back to Con Edison without really being told, because they could not lock in a rate that was going to, be lower than what they had promised, and so they had to switch back. They couldn't do it. So Anderson, we got you. I hear you now. How you doing? Introduce yourself.
Hey, I had it on mute. Silly me, right?
Oh,
Hey,
go
what's
ahead. You're
up,
good.
guys? As many of you know me as Andy or Anderson, I'm the founder and creator of Inside Yonkers, also Saint Alarm Media. Pretty excited. We agreed to this 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Working hard to get this going. Remember, guys, we're here for you.
Right. And that's what I tell people. I'm telling people that when I do basement politics, this is to inform people here in the city of Yonkers. And, recently, one of the things that I spoke about was the closing of stores on Warburton. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But the forced closing of businesses, specifically on Warburton, the Yummy Yummy, the Legacy Denim store that had recently opened up, which was opened up by a local entrepreneur who grew up actually in that neighborhood. And a lot of people are very upset about that. And that video has gotten over 7,000 views. Now, for me, that's a lot. 7,000 views, over 100 shares, 100 comments. People are very upset about what's happening here in Yonkers with the so-called gentrification, right? And a lot of the changes that are happening. But let's start with, I want to talk about Sustainable Westchester, right? Because I was talking about that and the impact that the closing of Indian Point has had on the power grid in Westchester, right? And also the impact on its prices, right? So tell me a little bit about that.
As we were talking about it earlier, off air, they changed the rate hikes some time ago, and it was unexpectedly, right? To this all new different system, and it now hasn't proven it hasn't worked, and now unexpectedly again they switched back to Con Edison. And our concern is there's already a ton of power outages because the systems that are supporting the city of Yonkers now, which is not Indian Point, are not able to, control or keep up with the capacity.
Right.
And it eventually becomes a quality of life issue because when these lights go off, traffic signals go off, it prompts 911 emergencies, people stuck in elevators, traffic signals go out, those cause accidents. So not only are you not worrying about an outage in the area, you have firefighters, emergency personnel scattering around the city trying to keep up, with the
Right.
failed system.
Right, because you have an increased call of volume of calls now as a result of power outages, as you mentioned, people getting stuck in elevators, which actually happened to me one time, and that freaked me out because that was always kind of a big fear of mine when I used to live in buildings and help going up and down the elevator. Also, as you mentioned, traffic lights go off, accidents, so you put some more of a strain on the first responders. Absolutely. And then another thing, you mentioned power outages. Listen, we got a lot of developments coming into Yonkers, a lot of luxury developments. They just announced, right? I knew about this, I heard about this, but they just formally announced a new development going up on Buena Vista, that narrow street just before you get to Main Street in the
44.
pier. Yeah, they're going to put 900 luxury units there. 900. And there are already two other developments going up that each are going to bring over 200 units. So I'm thinking about the power usage all those folks are going to be consuming, right? Because I think they're coming with ACs of the apartments.
ACs, 900 units. That's a lot of AC. That's a lot of heating. That's a lot of everything.
Right. And so the strain that it's going to put on, now that Indian Point has closed down and Sustainable Westchester just could not offer a better rate. They could not guarantee and lock down a better rate for 2 years. And I said this on my podcast. I said it's impossible. You have to understand the energy market. You have to understand what's going on, in the economy and around the world to know, is it really feasible, right? And I said that. I said they're not going to be able to do it. So we see it now. They've switched everybody back to Con Ed, a big flop. And really, we should be, laughing at some of the people that promoted it. But I don't want to go into that too much. But so should we be expecting power outages now in Yonkers once these developments go up?
If they don't keep up or catch up with the system, of course. That's it's a lot of power. It's a lot of power that just one single building pulls. Imagine you have a building that's 900 units. You have another building that's 800 units right next door. Another with 500 units. Imagine how much power just all those three accumulate, and then you have still the rest of the city to worry about.
Yeah. You guys, people are gonna have to expect the energy prices to go up. I mean, the demand for energy in the city of Yonkers, particularly, is going to increase significantly. A basic law of supply and demand, right? Demand increases, the price will go up. So people should expect that they're in, if they, and I already seen it in my bill the other last month. So people are going to be paying a lot more money. These developments are doing a lot to the city, and it's not necessarily good. And we were sold on it that it was going to be a good thing. We were going to, revitalize the downtown Yonkers area. Quality of life would be better. But it seems like it's not. It seems like what's happening, it's becoming more overcrowded. It's becoming harder to find an apartment or somewhere to live that people can afford, right? The roads are all jacked up. Con Edison is doing a number on these roads, right? So I mean, what should people expect? I mean, what's going on? They're bringing a lot of negative stuff to the city, I think. What do you think?
I don't know. There's remember a few years ago when Con Ed used to have these emergency generators coming into the city because during the summer, the heat waves, especially in August, the hottest month of the year, the power outages were just nonstop. Even outside of Yonkers, they were bringing in these emergency generators that they could even keep up with. Um, they've gotten better with that. They've gotten better with the emergency aspect of all of this. But the thing is why does it have to get to that point? The city is not doing anything to keep up with that. And then we have Cuomo, who decided to shut down Indian Point, which Yonkers really relied on to get all the electricity, because you're getting electricity from New York City, a system that's already overwhelmed.
Mm. Yeah, we don't want to have to see. I think your mic was muted again, but I would hate to have to go through another blackout. Your mic is muted again, I believe. I would hate to have to go through another blackout like in, I believe, what year was that? 2003. You guys remember that blackout where we all had to sleep in the heat? It was disgusting. I know I sat in my car, my wife and I at the time we were married, but we sat in our car in front of the apartment house that we lived in, just with the AC on until we were so exhausted that we didn't even care how hot it was. We were just going to fall asleep. So I would hate to see that happen again and see it happening more often as a result of the increased surge in the power. And I was just talking about the blackout of 2003 when we lost power and the heat was crazy. And also our schools. Many of our kids are in schools, and many times the heating system doesn't work or the AC doesn't work, and so they're in class either sweating bullets, and when it's getting close to summer, or in the wintertime they're in there with their coats on. So should we see that even, expect that to happen even more now? You hear me? Okay.
We
Unfortunately,
were in that predicament.
it seems to be a lag with the internet. And can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know if you just heard what I just said. Well, I was talking about the strain on the like the power grid and schools and how that would impact schools also. And I was just talking about the 2003 blackout.
The 2003 blackout. I think I was in fourth grade. Slept outside on Post Street, at the corner of Post Street
I'm old.
in Hamilton. That was an interesting night for sure.
Well, should we see more of that stuff? I mean, now with this increased, usage.
I don't think it'll get to that point again, unless some big thing happens. Um, I think earlier when the mic was muted, I'm not sure it keeps getting muted, but before Con Ed used to have to struggle to bring in emergency generators into the city. Remember, August is the hottest month of the year, so there used to be many blackouts back then, in the early 2000s, late 2010, 2011. They used to bring all these emergency generators when the city had blackouts because of the excessive heat. They used to ask us not to
Right.
use so much electricity, don't overwhelm the AC, all that stuff. They've gotten a lot better when it comes down to that factor. Um, when it comes down to emergencies, but has Yonkers come up with a backup plan to pick up the slack that originally Indian Point was taken over before Cuomo decided to close it down?
Well, I have no idea because I didn't even know that they were having to bring in emergency generators to keep things going. Um, I'm sure that with the increased, power usage now, with all these developments, all these thousands of units of luxury apartments that are coming in, we're definitely going to at least see price increases. That's for sure. If not, a strain on our power outage. I wanted to move on. I wanted to talk about because this is something that very much about, the firehouse on Chicken Island, right? Or near Chicken Island, the one on School Street. It was just built, brand new firehouse, and now it's going to be knocked down.
So it's a $40 million project that was on the taxpayers. There is a flat check written, waiting to be signed by the appropriate people at City Hall. What the Chicken Island developer wants to do is knock down the firehouse, give them a check for that, and build it where it originally was meant to be, and where the old Station 1/fire headquarters used to be. A lot of people are upset with that because it's a strain on the taxpayers. The taxpayers have to pay for this. They
Right.
had to pay for it to be built. They had to pay for the old firehouse to be torn down. They have to pay for this firehouse to be torn down, for a new one to be built.
Well, I thought the AMS, the company, was going to pay for some, if not all of it, or some of the cost.
They want to pay. So the developer already has a check written for the city, saying they want to tear down the firehouse so they can build whatever it is that they want to build there. So where
Right.
the old firehouse was, with the address of 57 New School Street, is where the developer wants them to build a new firehouse.
Right. They're putting it back.
So now remember, this $40 million firehouse that has no landline, or firefighters have to talk on their call to stations, call their superiors, and do business on their cell phones, because the city never thought about giving them landlines or planning for any of that. This is a whole scheme.
Oh, yeah, your mic went off again. Yeah, it's a bit tough. I'm not sure what you mean by they didn't give them any landlines and stuff. But if you don't know what Anderson's talking about, very recently, it was put out there that the firehouse that was just built on School Street was going to be knocked down and rebuilt in the original location, because the developers, AMS, wanted that piece of property. Now, AMS is also the developers of the 900 unit building going up on Buena Vista. They also own the trolley barn building that will be next to that one on Buena Vista, as well as 66 Main Street. So they're doing a lot of business here in the city of Yonkers. But anyway, I was just mentioning that AMS wanted to knock it down, and I believe they want to do residentials there. Correct? More luxury residential.
More luxury residential. No affordable housing, nothing. None of that stuff.
And you know what I thought about also when that project begins there on Chicken Island, the traffic, the amount of traffic that's going to occur there. It's already bad now, but I would imagine they're going to have to at some points reroute people from the area from going down that part of Neppahan, right? Maybe go down that little school street to the left or to the right to detour around if they have to get down to the pier or down to Riverdale Avenue or to City Hall. I mean, the traffic that project is going to cause is going to be incredible. Non-union project, like a lot of the projects, actually, I'm learning. Lots of cash payments. Where's the cash coming from? No one's paying taxes. Yeah, well, if not, they're getting tax breaks. Absolutely. And a lot of these jobs are non-union jobs. And that's been one of the issues with the developments going up. And, the fact that we were told, the city were told when, the elected officials were selling it to us that they were going to be providing jobs for so many people here in the city of Yonkers. But it has not. Local union, local labor has not seen much work on any of these projects here in the city of Yonkers. Much of the companies are coming from Connecticut, Brooklyn, Rochester, even non-union, hiring a bunch of subs. And the project, the school on McLean that's going up, it's already over budget. And so that's taxpayer money, right? Or money that was, that we could put elsewhere to help improve other schools that very much need it. But that's not happening. And I'm not sure who's managing these projects, but I do know that Mr. John Rubo from 4th District is the chair of the real estate committee. Something that, he was given a while back in a reorganization meeting, much protest by Shanae Williams, but it still happened. Just like Tasha Diaz became majority leader. But, and that's the problem, that not only are they not providing, jobs like they said they were, and they sold it to us that way. And even if they did, they're temporary, right? Once the development is built, that's it. Right? It's not a reoccurring thing. They're not doing that, but they're also luxury apartments. They're not affordable housing. And so in a city where 35% of the residents make $35,000 a year, why would they bring so many damn luxury apartments? Why? It also is causing the rents of the other apartments around these developments to go up as well. And they're being bought and renovated. They're raising the rents. That's happening along Warburton there near those businesses, Yummy Yummy and Legacy Denim and, Pablo's Bodega there, who I see is very popular. It's a staple, right? Everybody knows Pablo, apparently. And he's been there 30 plus years. And the meat market on Ashburton. And it's all going to be sold to these developers that are doing Lionsgate Studios and other smaller investors who are jacking up the rent, taking advantage by buying the multifamily homes near these bigger developments. And eventually that's going to push people out. People in that area in Warburton who once lived there, many are not going to live there. And Trevor Park, that's going to get developed. JFK Marine is going to get developed. So, it's only a matter of time before the demographics in the area completely change, right? Every project is non-union in Yonkers. Let me know when you come back in, Anderson. I don't know if you can hear me. Every project is non. Yeah, I know. That's what I've been noticing. Sounds like a $40 million mistake. I wonder what else is wasted. Yeah, a lot of stuff. One developer was arrested for one downtown project for not paying taxes. Just one. No one can afford them. $3,000 for a one bedroom. Not only are they $3,000 for a one bedroom, but they're also like 500 to 700 square feet. That's like tiny, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is absolutely insane. At least give me 1,100 square feet, 1,200 square feet, right? And so they're very small, very boxy, almost like I call them like luxury jail cells. That's what they are. And they're charging a lot of money. But it doesn't matter because these are temporary places. This is not permanent living situations, and they don't plan them on being permanent. These are transient, living situations. People that are going to be coming in, maybe spending 2 years living in Yonkers while they film something in Lionsgate Studios, right? Because that's how long it takes to do movies, right? And then once they're done, they go back to wherever they came from, probably California. The same with Syracuse, the university that they're going to put over by Leak and Watts, where that old Leak and Watts was at the end of Valentine, right? They're going to build 10 to 12 studios there, or 20 studios, and they're going to do a film school. But it's going to be a lot of the college students that are going to be living in a lot of this. So they'll be there for a few years, 4 years tops, right? Or maybe they're doing a master's 6 years, and then they're going to move on. So these are temporary things. That's why they're building 1 and 2 and studio apartments. It's not for families, right? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, cool. I got you a little bit. Yeah, internet's a little lacking, but I try to get you back in. And I was just talking about the luxury developments, right? And that they're building so many, and they're pushing a lot of the people out just by pricing them out, forcing the stores and businesses along Warburton to be closed. And that's something that a lot of people are concerned with and really care about. I mean, I got 7,000 views on that one video, which to me that's a lot for me. So that's a home run, and that means people care. People commented, people are upset. So maybe people are starting to wake up and starting to see what's going on, right? Tell me about that. What's your opinion on it?
People people are upset. Remember the fire in Getty Square where the McDonald's was? It
Yeah, I
tore out
always thought that
Sam's
that was
Pizza.
suspicious.
The
Yeah.
Yeah. So the McDonald's, the 99-cent store. Um, from that day, I can tell you that everyone that I've spoken to has said the same thing you said. They've always thought it was suspicious, and the only thing that everyone has always said was the city burned it down to build new stuff there. So
Well, my
my
theory is
personal
this.
opinion,
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
my personal opinion is they can't burn anything down anymore. So now they're forcing everybody out the harder way.
Well, I don't know if they
That's
mean if
just
they want to
my
be burning down the city of Yonkers. I think that my opinion in that actually, but I agree. I think something suspicious happened there, and what I believe happened is that the individuals probably, wanted to get out of that thing. They set the building on fire to collect the insurance money and got out of Dodge, or maybe the city was coming to take it. Because they've been doing that eminent domain, taking business owners and property owners' property like they did to someone I know on Main Street where they did the daylighting, right? And they offering people half of what the property's worth. So I guess they figure rather than get that happen to me, I'd rather burn it down and collect, full value from my insurance company. But I also hear really quick now we're talking about suspicious fires that the fires at the top of Maple Avenue or Maple Street up there, where like 3 or 4 tenement buildings burn, that was suspicious and that may have been arson. I'm hearing. So maybe it is. Maybe these individuals are burning down their buildings, or smaller investors are burning down their 1 and 2 properties to get out, before they get strong armed by the big developers, which they're doing to small business owners now and pushing them out.
What was Catherine's comment? I lost that comment.
The more
Um,
towers that go up, property values go up, and local politicians who own nearby are looking for the biggest payout if they are looking to hold it or sell. Rising
I saw
tides
that one,
lift all boats.
but
Okay.
the $40 million mistake, it's not a mistake. That's what we're trying to explain. It's not a mistake. It's planned
No, no,
because
absolutely.
how do you remember when the city just said no, we're tearing this building down, it's condemned, there's no remodeling it, there's no
Right.
waiting, it was just done abruptly. you
Right.
know the fire department was completely opposed to it. There was rallies held. I spoke at one of those rallies at the time. um Commissioner Pagano was leaving, but he was really upset because a lot of these guys were out of that firehouse. They their whole career was in that firehouse, in their offices.
So
Um,
really quick, you're talking about the old firehouse that
the
was on
old
School
firehouse.
Street that
So
it got condemned, right? The city, this is the city's fire department, right? But the city's building department went in there and condemned the building, right? In order for it to justify the closing it down, knocking it down, and building the new one across the street. Yet they haven't condemned and knocked down the building department, which it should be. Go ahead.
exactly. So it was not a $40 million mistake. It was, you know they're gonna get paid more now for all of us. Developers are robbing our city. On top of that, the city gives them super big tax breaks. Yes, they don't pay taxes. They're not giving anything. At least in most communities, when these developers come in, there's a city council or mayor has balls and tells them, listen, you need to pay taxes, or you need to give a lump sum to our school system, or
Right,
something that'll benefit the city. But
right.
nothing goes to schools, nothing goes to nothing. It goes into their pockets.
Right. I mean, I don't know if most city councils are like that. I think if and I've been reading up a lot about this and the affordable housing, a lot of the development that's the affordable housing crisis and developments going up. This is happening in a lot of cities actually. And a lot of the governments are working with these developers. And in fact, in Texas, in Cincinnati, and in Los Angeles, developers and elected officials have been arrested very recently and development scandals, and corruption deals, to being bribed by developers and stuff like that. And so, but it just shows this particular incident with the firehouse that we're speaking about goes to show who is in charge, right, and who are the priority. Again, the developers. I mean, if they're willing to uproot our fire station, right, our fire department, to move them over, right, just moving them back and forth because the developers want that property, then even the first responders are not the priority of the city of Yonkers.
Remember when we talked on basement politics? We talked about, not this isn't just about that they build a new firehouse and they're tearing it down to build luxury units. This is about, during those years that they were building the new firehouse, the units that were assigned to that firehouse were scattered around the city where the trucks would fit in the firehouses. So that brought up response times. That have, like I
Right. So
explained last time, it's not only about they're tearing down a new firehouse. They just built a $40 million firehouse. They're tearing it down. City wants money. Blah blah blah. It's risking lives. Lives are at risk if this happens again. Like, lives were at risk before. Response
right.
times went up. The fire department did their absolute best to strategically locate units to where they didn't have to exceed their expectations of their response times, which they did a phenomenal job with. Can't say that for Empress, unfortunately.
So I just want to clear it up. Maybe people didn't hear this before. So you're saying that when they first did this and moved and built the new firehouse, that caused delays and in the response time of fire department response because they were scattered throughout the city. Those that were would normally have been housed there on School Street, correct?
Correct.
Right. And
Every
so that
fire
is that presents a
station
danger.
has a unit that has their specific district. So every firehouse is just not just standing there. Every firehouse is strategically located within a city or a county to have a specific square mile response area. So you
Right.
take units out of, especially special operation units, out of a firehouse right in the heart of the city, and you scatter them throughout the city where they can actually fit the trucks. Because remember, there's no money being put to remodeling firehouses either. Yeah, firefighters are working without contracts. They're dealing with a lot. and now they're dealing with this big money maker developer wanting to, cut a flat check that's already cut and written and just waiting for it to be cashed. Um, you know, Now we have to deal with this.
Basically, they're bribing the city to do this. I also want to talk about something really quick that you just reminded me of in terms of, safety concerns. The city council president, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, and I actually once spoke about this. They're talking about creating more affordable housing, right? Increasing the affordable housing stock of the availability of affordable housing by allowing illegal apartments to be legalized, right? Without having to make any changes, right? Giving landlords who have these illegal apartments breaks. Now that presents a super big danger to both first responders and the tenants.
It's never gonna happen. It's she can't control code enforcement. She can't control.
Well, I'm not saying she's trying to do this herself. This is a conversation that they've had as a group, as a council.
At the end of the day, Freddie, they can't do it. They're gonna violate federal laws, state laws, OSHA.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, you're right. But for them to even think about that, it's not logical, because buildings are built to a certain expectation by laws. There's laws. There's rules and regulations on how buildings are built. Houses, firehouses, police stations, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one thing. One of the biggest dangers firefighters face in New York State are illegal apartments, renovated apartments without proper floor plans, unapproved apartments. That's why there's fire prevention inspectors, code enforcement officers for these things. It's never going to happen, especially in a time where we're dealing with Tasha Diaz, who vowed to bring more affordable housing to Yonkers and now is against it. It's not going to happen. It's all talk. I don't believe it.
Well, now that you mentioned that, you mentioned to me that you emailed Tasha Diaz's office in regards to the flip-flop she did. That's what I call it, on the affordable housing ordinance. And it's very appropriate that she's always wearing flip-flops, right? Chancletas, as we call them in Spanish. She flip-flop on the housing ordinance.
Them in the photo op.
Yeah, well, I make sure I captured them on my videos. That's for sure. But I just really want to just go through that real quick for people who may not know. Tasha Diaz is the majority leader, also the District 3 representative on the Yonkers City Council. She was the reason, or one of the main reason, actually, she had all the power in her hand why the affordable housing ordinance was killed. The affordable housing ordinance would have increased the requirement these developers would have to abide by or adhere to, and when putting a certain number of affordable housing in their developments, right? Right now it stands at 10. They wanted to increase it to 20%. That would have increased the housing stock for affordable housing, because there'll be more in these developments. And also they didn't have, because they did introduce something new recently. They didn't have as much freedom as the one that they recently introduced, actually, which is allowing them to, bypass it completely. But anyway, Tasha Diaz, who said that she was going to bring more affordable housing. She's a champion for the people, her constituents, said, I'm for it. I'm for affordable housing. At the last minute, when it was time to show and prove, she all of a sudden voted against it.
I really love what you said last night. I was watching your show last night. And I'm not going to look it up, but I remember it almost as clear. You said, how can a person that receives affordable housing be against other people getting it?
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. It's mind-blowing, because without those people that live in affordable housing, she wouldn't be where she's at right now. And flat out say it. It's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what Anderson is saying, is that the majority leader lives in a building that is affordable housing, and yet she voted against more affordable housing, right? So you are receiving a benefit. You're taking advantage of of assistance that's provided by government, but yet you voted against it. More people having access to that. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. That's like I got
Hey,
mine. No more people can
Johnny
get theirs.
Limo, chancleta lady.
Yeah.
I love it.
And so I mentioned that because I want people out there to understand, why it's happening the way it's happening. So many luxury developments are popping up as opposed to affordable apartments that we need. There's an affordable housing crisis in Westchester, Yonkers, the country, yet there's a luxury development boom. It doesn't make sense. I don't know if you heard me. Did you hear that? And Tasha
Yeah,
Diaz, obviously, she's all for the luxury development because she's always with the luxury developers, in her chancletas, in her
and her
flip flops.
chancletas. You call her I like that chancleta lady.
That's
That's
it.
it.
So, so I just want people to
We ever
understand that.
mention chancleta lady, everyone knows who we're talking about now.
Yeah, she's gonna be upset. But it's important that we mention that, folks, because next year, 2023, she is up for re-election. There are important elections coming up in the city: District 1, District 3, District 5, and the mayor's seat. And so if you want to see a change, stop what's going on before it's too late and they develop most of us up out of here. We have to come out and vote next year. 1000%. We have to come out and vote. Not a lot of people come out and vote. That's another issue where we have here in the city of Yonkers. 200,000 people, only 20,000 people vote. That's not enough. And so people need to come out. Otherwise, you guys are going to get moved out because they're bringing in 20 to 22 more studios, movie studios here in Yonkers. Where are they going to put them? Do you know?
Nowhere.
Can you hear me?
I'm trying to think. I can't. It's nowhere to think.
Nowhere, because there's no more land. And so here's the trick, Anderson. Let me tell you the bait and switch that they do. So developers, right, when they come into the city of Yonkers now, they have to make 10% of the units affordable housing. Now, the 900 unit building that's going up on Buena Vista, I hear it's only going to be 5% affordable housing. So 45.
What sense does that make?
Yeah, 5%.
It's
45.
Like it's like giving somebody a pity hug. 5%, just so they can get off our backs a little bit. That's kind of
it's we want to say that we did something here. Look, we're doing this, right?
Yeah, we did it. They can't say nothing now. It's 5%. People are not dumb. That's why you and I are here now, because we're gonna bring. They're not gonna like us. That's all I have to say.
Well, that's what I want to do. I want to make sure that we make people aware of this. 5%. That's about 45 apartments out of the 900 units. 45 will be affordable. That's it. And so they're supposed to do 10%. So now the other 45, what they're going to do is there's a dollar amount that they put for each unit. So whatever that dollar amount is per unit, they're going to multiply that. Well, they're supposed to multiply that by 45. And that amount of money is supposed to go into an affordable housing trust fund. All right, folks. So stay with me real quick. Now, that money that goes into the affordable housing trust fund is supposed to be to build affordable housing elsewhere. So they're saying, well, okay, we don't put them all in our buildings, but we'll put money here, and then you can build an all affordable development somewhere else, right? Basically, we don't want you here. Go build somewhere else. Here's the money. Okay, cool. But where? Because all the land is gone. So where are they going to put these affordable housing developments that these developers are putting money into the fund to build? Where? And they're building one on Main Street. It's 33 Main Street, but it's only 76 units. All right, folks, it's going to be right there across from La Bella Havana, whatever, across the street. It's going to be only 76 units. And I say only because 900 is a big difference. And they're only getting 24 parking spaces. So affordable housing, folks, don't even get, an assurance of a parking space. You have to fight it out in the street.
Why even bother? Just, it's discouraging for residents of Yonkers. Like, it just makes no sense.
It makes no sense. That's why I want people to. That's why I pointed out. I want people to see that it makes no sense, right? So again, it's very simple. In a city where the majority of the people, the average resident makes $35,000 a year, why would they bring in so many luxury apartments that go for $3,000 a month? That's $36,000 a year. That's $1,000 more than what the average person makes. Why would they do that? Right? Unless they're planning on pushing people out and bringing a new, you know, whole demographic of people. And again, they're coming from those movie studio people. They're not hiring Yonkers folks to work there. Please, it's like with the developments, right? With the they're gonna build this and they're gonna be this many construction jobs, right? And then we're gonna do OSHA classes. I love this, right? Oh my, this is so funny. We're gonna do OSHA classes. They're gonna get their certification, and then they're gonna go work on the. That's BS. Developers are not going to take the time to train people in Yonkers, then certify them, and then put them on their developments. That just takes too much time. That costs too much money. Time is money, especially in construction. Okay.
Oh
You
yeah.
got to get in, get out, get your money back to the lenders, so you can make your money and hope there's no other hiccups. There's always a hiccup in construction, right? So that's the thing about that. Just like in the movie thing, who who understands the movie business? Who knows how to work these? They're not going to come and train people. There's already people that are in there, that are in the unions, that are working on all these different movies and shows, and they're just going to come into Yonkers when they do filming. They're going to stay for however long they need to for the filming of that. Then they're going to leave. A new group of people for a new film is going to come in, right? That's what it's going to be. That's why they're doing studio 1 and 2 bedrooms. It's not family stuff, and that's why they're not focusing on the schools.
Yep. You know, let me just throw out there. It's not a topic
It's
yet, but I mentioned this to you earlier. Since 2011, when Spano was first elected as mayor, he vowed for an over $36.1 million transformation of public schools. He hasn't built one school up until this year, 2022, and the time he has been in office. But he has built about 20 new, developments. A new firehouse that he's about to tear down again. I don't know,
a
but
studio.
yeah. Um, so there's a lot of stuff going on, but let's go on to the next topic. I want to
Yeah.
go and talk about So
Well, we got about
remember
a
we
little
were
less than 20 minutes. Go ahead.
remember we were talking about Empress. I know I didn't want to bring it up. I'm not gonna bring it up too much, but I finally
Just
got
couldn't
what
help it.
everyone's been asking for, and it is the written proof of the response times of Empress.
Well, let me just recap people real quick. What Anderson's talking about is the response time of Empress. They are contractually obligated to respond within, I believe it was 3 to 4 minutes, maybe 8 minutes tops. But recently, they've been responding on average of 18 minutes, right? And that's time that can save a
18
life,
minutes, more than 18 minutes.
Oh, more than 18 minutes.
Um,
So
I have I have four I have four si- I have 4 times where they arrived. One time they lasted 27 minutes. One time was 19 minutes. One was 34 minutes.
wow,
Uh,
34 minutes. Wow.
34 minutes, and that was
I hope that wasn't someone who was unresponsive.
one of them was a cardiac arrest. The one from Ossining.
And how
They
long did it take?
It took over 34 minutes from Ossining to Yonkers. Last night there was an incident where they had a call and they had to wait 27 minutes. They had called for an ambulance and the fire department arrived, as they always do, in a timely manner, and the dispatchers had to call back Empress to find out where that ambulance was, and it turned out that they never had sent an ambulance at all.
Wow. Imagine you're waiting
Now,
for an ambulance, right? You're like, I'm dying. You call the ambulance. I called them. You sure? I called them. I'm dying. Never come because they never sent one. That's crazy.
it's they're actually under a new contract agreement. It hasn't been signed as I originally stated before. I got new information today that it is still hasn't been signed, but their contract extension is asking for less supervision,
Hmm.
less requirements to serve in the city, and many other things. Why do they want less supervision? Because they don't want the city seeing the shady stuff that they're doing. Now, as we've always talked, Freddie, we've always mentioned this has nothing to do with those hardworking EMTs and
Right.
paramedics that are busting their butts every day for residents of Yonkers. This is about the Minervas and the administration behind the scenes that are taking ambulances out of the city and putting them into money making interfacility transfers.
Well, I was going to ask you, why did they go from Yonkers to Ossining?
So, Empress is located in New York City, the Bronx, New. They're in Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, Pelham, Pelham Manor. They are in Yorktown, Yorktown Heights. They're in Rockland County, Dutchess County. They now took over the Westchester Medical Center, Stat Flight Team. So they're expanding everywhere else except where they birthed. Remember this, Empress. You started in Yonkers. Remember
Yeah, I
where your
remember.
grassroots are. Remember, the residents of Yonkers are the reason why you're the company you are. You need to back them up and appropriately serve the city of Yonkers the right way. Because taking ambulances out of 911 zones and sending them to, I've seen them as far as Staten Island. They've taken a 911 unit assigned to the city of Yonkers to Staten Island to do a interfacility transfer from Staten Island to Brooklyn. They're
And
taking that because they make money. They don't make money besides
right,
off of the contract for 911 medicals. Because think about it, not everybody has health insurance. Not everybody
right,
can afford health insurance nowadays. It's
right.
just not in everyone's budget, unfortunately. Not that they don't decide that it's in their budget, but you
Right.
understand. Everyone
Yeah.
else understands.
Yeah, I get it.
So they know they're not gonna make money off of that. So what route they're gonna take to make money? Their interfacility transfers.
Right.
Now, the picture you have right now, you see that Dodge Charger?
Yeah.
You have a city of hills that it snows a lot. It's not even an all-wheel drive vehicle. So when it snows, that car right there is pointless. But back to the point, they're supposed to have paramedic fly cars. Their
Right,
paramedics
right.
are assigned to these fly cars, supposed to be scattered around the
Right. They're
city, but
supposed to
they're
get
not.
there right away. That's why
Yeah,
they have a car
they're,
instead of an
they're the
ambulance.
first responder until the ambulance gets there. It
Right.
works effectively in other cities that I've seen it, because they took that idea from other cities, as other
Right,
cities
right.
do, whatever.
Well, you know
But
what? It is a lot of the, and I see this around Yonkers. A lot of the emergencies that I see because I see Empress flying all over Yonkers, right? I'm constantly moving to the side for them, and I see them doing a lot of, some maybe a homeless person somewhere, some guy, high or overdose, and and unfortunately, it seems like a lot of the calls that they're dealing with a population that, like you said, is uninsured. They may be homeless, addicted to drugs.
it's still
So there's no
something
money
that
being made there.
still a business they got into, and they need to back it up, keep
Yeah.
up with
Well,
it.
people get into business to make money.
They got that too, but you know, we're talking about lives here, Freddie. Now,
No, I agree. I agree,
but
but I'm just saying
I
that.
get what you're saying,
Yeah.
100%.
No,
I've
I'm not
said that
justifying it.
myself.
I'm
It's
not
about money.
justifying it. I'm not justifying it. What I'm saying is that they obviously got into this to make money, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Not
absolutely.
necessarily because we want to
Mrs.
save lives.
Minerva, Mrs. Minerva, who is, she started the company with her husband, I believe. Now her sons, Dan and I forgot the other Minerva's name. They run the Empress business now. And periodically you'll see them riding in the fly cars, observing, and you think that, when supervisors want to join in and ride around with you, you think it's because they're trying to improve or make, see what's going on so they can make improvements or stuff. But that hasn't worked. They haven't done crap about that. They've been catching some heat from some city leaders. I can confirm
Who?
that for you.
Like who?
Empress has,
What city leaders?
I'm not going to disclose that yet, but we have the confirmation, and I have that.
I mean,
But,
why not disclose it? They're city leaders. They should be doing that publicly.
well, let's say that Spano has spoken to them.
Oh, I
but
got you. I
but
see what you're
we're
saying.
gonna we can't say he's spoken to them without knowing what they spoke about, because we're talking about their biggest campaign contributors.
Who, Empresses?
Emperors, the Minervas. They're the biggest campaign contributors to the Mayor Mike Spano's campaign. Why
Okay,
do
I
you
didn't know.
think Empress has stayed around so long?
Right,
Now, my thing is not against the mayor on this
right.
case. My thing is about how Empress is running their business because they're starting to risk lives.
Well, I
Austining
mean, but they
was,
have a contract with the city, so if they're, if they're putting lives at risk because they're choosing profits, over uh, doing, doing what they're supposed to, according, excuse me, according to their contract, and this is affecting, lives, then yes, something needs to be, the elected officials need to be put on notice, or they need to be stepping up.
of course, but we're talking about people that built the $40 million firehouse and now want to tear it down.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying in general. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. This is the world we live in. It's profit over lives, money over lives. It should be MLM, money lives matters, right? Because money is what is the primary focus for so many people, especially when you get into a business and you're very, very successful at it. You kind of get tunnel vision and you kind of just go, and that's what you think of, and you become detached from the people that you serve, especially when you don't see those people on a day-to-day basis, like the owners of this company, right? They're not actually in the ambulance, driving the ambulance around, so they lose that sympathy. They lack that empathy, and it's just about dollar signs. Especially when the economy is getting bad, you want to make sure your business is pumping in as much money as possible in order to withstand any potential economic downfalls. So I understand that it's a delicate balance, but yes, no life should be put at risk, and if they cannot
And
maintain
hey,
proper response
they're
time,
they're
something has
hiring.
to be done.
We're all for one great community. So we can help Empress. We'll help. Guys,
Well,
remember,
do they
Hero
have
is
enough
hired.
people?
They'll train you. They will train you in their own academy. They just opened a brand new Bronx Center. Take the bus. You don't have a car? Take the bus. Take the Metro North. Get over there. You want to be part of, you want to help your community? Join Empress.
Or you
You
want to
know,
get a job, right? If you want to looking for a job, you should consider a career as an EMT. And
it's
like you said, if you
rewarding.
don't got a car, if you don't have a car, then there you go. Get on the bus, get over there, get a job, apply for it, get a job, save up your money now that you're working, and then you'll buy yourself a car. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. And then you're also helping the community by contributing to the greater good of society. And that's a great that's great. There you go. Right. So, because I don't know, I've heard people say that, oh, they're short staffed. That's what it was.
It's
People
yeah.
said, Freddie, you got to give them a break. They're short
That's why I
staffed.
mentioned that because they like a lot of people would say they're short staffed. But like I told you earlier today, so is Burger King, so is McDonald's, so is the fire department, so is the police department, so is the
Well,
bus system. Everyone's short staffed, especially after COVID. But we cannot blame that on a system that has an, has a huge expectation from
right.
from the city of.
Well, someone says here, I have to say, I called 911 about a month ago, and Empress was there in less than 5 minutes.
You're lucky.
The two paramedics were amazing. They got my mother in an ambulance and did everything they could to save her life. And people are gonna have everyone's gonna have their own experience. That's why I always say this about anything. Especially when it comes to people, right? And that's why I never go based off what other people say about somebody until I meet them, because everybody has their own experiences that they what should I say pull from when giving an opinion about something. And that's probably here she's had an experience. Her life was saved because of their response. So but maybe this person, like you said, was a unique experience, and on average, right? And maybe we need to look at the data. And I think you said you're going to look to see about the data. So maybe you can look on average, what are the response times,
I
right?
have
Or is
I
this just
have the
a
data. We're just I'll get it posted up tomorrow.
yeah. Yeah, that'd be good so people could see that. And like you said, if it is a problem where on average they are going over 18 or plus minutes, and just maybe this person, Lauren Cater here, was happened to be lucky, and thank God that that was the case. But we have to see, we have to look at the data and see what is the truth. Is it that it's just maybe maybe a certain time that these response times are going, and maybe it's a certain group of individuals that are not doing their job properly or something. I don't know, but definitely look for the data. I think people would like to see that. I know someone's lately been questioning, oh, do you have proof? Do you have evidence? So as
Well,
much
we
as we
got the
can, we
proof.
show
We
it.
were working on it, and we're gonna be putting it up.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, we have 5 minutes left. I just want to wrap it up real quick. So folks, what we're doing here is City Talk, and I apologize for the lag there and the internet and stuff, and we'll definitely work to get that worked out and tweaked out, however you want to call it. But we're creating this show, Anderson and I, to bring this sort of information to the people of Yonkers. But it's just not limited to what you heard here. We also want to talk about positive things, talk about school sports, anything going on with the education system, positive things going on in schools, high school sports. We want to talk about community events, and we just want to keep the people informed, right? And so not be so much politics, speaking so much specifically, but it's almost like you can't help it though, right? Because a lot of the stuff that happens is almost like they're kind of tied to it in a way, right?
Yeah.
So watch.
Three things.
So basically, I just wanted to say that. And so look out for that, because it'll be on Thursdays this fall. Fall's already here pretty much. And so we'll be doing City Talk every Thursday at 8 p.m. Now, we encourage you to comment, ask questions, and also to send us ideas or topics that you'd like to see discussed, and us to look into and talk more about, something you may be interested in, or something you may be concerned about, whatever it is. I know for me, education is super big. And if you haven't seen me before, I'm Freddie Vasquez. I do a basement politics, Unfiltered. That's my podcast on Facebook and YouTube. And we have Anderson from Inside Yonkers. So if there's anything that you guys would like for us to discuss, please, I'm sure Anderson feels the same way. Reach out to us, and we'll definitely take a look at it.
So, guys, I only have two things before we disconnect. On September 11th, Sunday, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the JFK Marina, the Yonkers Guardian Association is doing a back-to-school barbecue. There's going to be music, food, games, and free haircuts. So bring the kids. It's hosted by the Guardians, Lakeisha Collins, the City Council, and Diaz. Also, the Yonkers Brave Yonkers Force football season started last week. Give them a hoop. Go watch them play, and good luck to both teams this year.
Yeah, they played at Roosevelt.
Yep. And today, we got late news. Queen Elizabeth II has died at 96, man. She was the monarch for 70 years. May she rest in peace.
Yeah, a long time. She had a great life. I mean, I can't complain. Now we have King, what's his name? Her son, King Charles, right? He takes over now. He's no longer Prince Charles. He now becomes King Charles. So Queen Elizabeth II. I heard about this. It's crazy, because I heard earlier that something was wrong with her health, and then my wife just told me she passed away. But a long time, man. She's seen a lot of stuff. I would love to have seen, the world through her eyes, man. She's seen a lot of different things.
She looks like a very humble woman.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can only imagine how humble she is.
Thank you guys for coming and watching our first episode. Sorry about the lag. Definitely some improvement after today. We're here for you guys. I want you guys to always know that.
Absolutely. This is episode 1, so we definitely work to get it better, and it will. And I look back at my podcast, Basement Politics, the first episode, to how it looks today. Definitely much has improved. So I'm sure we'll do the same, as we go along here. So again, folks, please make sure that you tune in at Thursdays at 8, comment, ask questions, and also, give us any ideas on topics, I should say, that you'd like for us to talk about, look into, research, and, discuss on Facebook and YouTube as well. So we'll be putting this on YouTube. Anyway, folks, I'm Freddie Vasquez, and you are... Tell them who you are.
Anderson Sr.
And this is City Talk, folks. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. God bless. Thank you. Oh. Folks, again, I'm Freddie Vasquez. Tune in next week for another episode of City Talk. I'm up out of here. How do I... I'm controlling this. Have a blessed night.